Hey guys, this is Dr. John Schaefer, and today we're going to be talking about all things home health scheduling. So, whether you're a physical therapist, skilled nurse, occupational therapist, speech therapist, anyone who's doing home health, this video is going to be extremely helpful in giving you a framework to organize your schedule so that you're not scrambling all the time trying to figure out where you need to be, when you need to be there. And this will just give you a little bit more structure to how you approach your days in home health because I know that was one of the biggest challenges for me when I first started home health. But after I kind of put this system in place, things got so much easier. Um, and I wasn't spending the majority of my day behind the computer trying to figure out how to schedule. So, just a brief overview of how I use this template. So, you can open up a Google Sheet, and all you have to do is label the month, and then you're going to put in, the first week here, we got the second week of the month, third week of the month, fourth week of the month. Great. And then we're going to have columns here. So we'll do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Depending on if you work weekends, you can kind of move this around because, with home health, you can block off your days how you want. So everyone's schedule will look a little bit different. And then what we can do down here too is we'll label this month here, we'll say June. And then what we can do is we can just duplicate this. What comes after June here? July. So we'll put down July, and then you can just go right across the board here with your schedule so you can kind of keep track of who you saw when. So after we have this initial outline, the next thing we're going to look at is actually scheduling our patients, kind of how we'll go about that. So with return visits, typically most patients won't let you see them before 9 o'clock. If you're lucky, they will. So we'll say patient A, and then we'll put down for 9 o'clock. Patient B, go 10:15. For most of my appointments, what I'll do is I'll leave about an hour and 15 minutes between if it's a return. So most visits only need to be between 30 and 45 minutes, and then that'll give you a little bit of a buffer between to go ahead and finish your documentation and then drive over to your next patient. So just putting down, each of the patient's names and then the time that you'll be seeing them. And this would be a day where all I saw was return visits. So that is great. And then we'll put our last patient here. Patient F, seeing at 3:15. And then what I also like to do is add up the total number of points that I'm getting for the day. So depending on the structure with your agency, you could either be salary or paid per patient. And if you're paid per patient, you want to make sure that you're at least meeting your productivity or the expectation of how many points you're to see in a week. So for this specific column, we'll say each return visit is worth 1 point. So we'll add these up: one, two, three, four, five, six. So down here, I'm going to put a six. And then over the course of the week, we'll add in all our points from each day, and then I'll kind of show you how you can create some different columns to figure out if you're on track or not. So this will be a day with all return visits, and if it's a return visit that I've confirmed, that I've scheduled, I've called this person, and we've agreed to the time, then what I'll do is I'll highlight here in green. And then if for whatever reason I haven't confirmed an appointment yet, or I still need to call them, I would put it in orange. But ideally, what you want to do is you want to call all your patients in a row. You don't want an orange in the middle of the day, because then if all of a sudden they don't show up, you're having to make all kinds of calls to rearrange your schedule. So a perfect day here would look like this, where we've got all our patients scheduled for Monday. So if it's Sunday, you're looking ahead at your schedule, you see you've got your 6 patients scheduled here, you've got their times, it's all green, you're good to go. And then we'll go ahead and we're just going to copy this over here. And for a situation where you're seeing a new patient or it's a start of care, what I'll typically do, I'll either put them at the very beginning of my day or the very end of my day, and we'll just say patient SOC for start of care that I'll be seeing at 4:30. And then my color code for that is yellow for a new patient or a patient evaluation. Now, my agency will give you 2 points for a new patient, whereas 1 point for a return. So for this column, we'll say one, two, three, four. 5, 6, 8. 8 points, so not a bad day. And then we'll go over here to Wednesday, and let's just say that our 11:30 is a discharge. We're done seeing this patient. So I would just put in discharge, and then my color code for that is going to be purple. So I know that I'm completing discharge paperwork here. And then let's just say that this patient at the end of the day is a PT eval. So not a full oasis, but still a new patient. So we're going to put them in yellow. And then again, this will vary agency to agency, but for my agency, a discharge is worth 1.1 points. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. PT eval is worth a point and a half, so that's 6.5, 7.6 points. And if this is a little bit confusing, don't worry. It's something where if you're new to home health, you'll catch on pretty quickly. And then just pay attention, of course, to what the point system is for your agency. And then just give you an example of, you know, different structures of days. Maybe you have one day that's a little bit lighter. So this day, let's say you only saw 5, so we'll put 5 in there. And then Friday, we'll go ahead and say maybe your first patient day was a new patient. So we'll go 45. And then with new patients, I would always try and give yourself a little bit more time. So maybe an hour and a half or even an hour and 45 minutes. That's why I like to do the new patients at the end of the day if possible. So you've got plenty of time to document. The only downside with that is if you're calling doctors' offices and things like that, some offices will close at 4, some will close at 5. So then you're needing to wait to get your orders in the next day. So let's go ahead and just add up where we're at with this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 here. And then remember, our new patient for me is worth 2. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've got 7 here. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to do a sum of this entire column. So it looks like this would be 33 and a half points for the week. And then I'll also, for this column here, I'll do a multiplier. So I'll click on K12 and then I'll just do multiply by. And then this is where you could put in your rates. Maybe you're getting 65 dollars per point. Maybe you're getting 70. Let's put 70 in here. So then your total pay for the week would be 2,352. And then you can kind of, keep track of that. Maybe your productivity is 30 for the week. So just making sure that you're staying above that. And if you're falling below that, you can at least ask for more patients. So again, color coding, this green would be a confirmed visit. If it's not highlighted, if it looks something like this, you would still need to confirm those visits. New patients, whether that's an eval or start of care, are bright yellow. Discharge is going to be that purple color. You can come up with whatever system works for you. I've just found this to be pretty helpful. And then I always leave a column next to it so you can take little notes, such as maybe something you want to work on next time if you wanted to do stairs, or if you wanted to put in a patient's phone number. You could also do that if you want to communicate via text. Um, so that's really kind of space for free notes. And then if for whatever reason you're going about your day and someone cancels, what I would do is I would just put in red and then I would put missed visit, sick, just so you can keep track of that. And then you would drop down your total points to 5, and then you can kind of see how things switch over here. So you get one less point, you're getting a little bit less compensation. So super easy way to stay organized. If you need to add on a Saturday, just drop a column over here, change this to Saturday. Saturday. And then you could slide some things over and you'd be good to go. So there's plenty of weeks where, I'll flex my schedule, I'll take vacation, and then I need to move things around so I can see patients at different times. And then just one other piece over here. I like to keep track of pending evaluations, pending start of care. So I put patient last name, patient, and then you can do the date that you got the referral. So let's say it's June, or they're getting discharged. So if they're getting discharged on the 13th, that would be Friday. So I'd probably see them sometime next week here. But just so you can keep a list of running patients, so you kind of know where you're at with everything. But this should be kind of a good start of how to organize your home health schedule. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve to it, but if you can get a system down like this, it'll save you so much time, so much hassle. And especially if you can get patients on a regular schedule. So if you've got someone who's always willing to be seen, Monday, Thursday at 9 o'clock, every time you go into the house, you can just schedule rather than having to worry about um, calling them when you're home. There's nothing worse than being done with everything but not having your schedule. So you can be done with all your notes, but still not have a full schedule for next week. So staying on top of that will be helpful. You can also, if you're comfortable, text patients just so that you're not constantly on the phone. But there's downsides to that as well. So this is, like I said, a good start with some of this. If you do have questions, drop them in the comments. I might do another video here about how I kind of map out uh, how I see patients just based on location. If that's something you guys would be interested in, drop that in the comments too. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful, and this is how I manage my home health schedule.